Welcome to the Art Lady channel. This is the Pyrenean Ibex that we're going to be making today, and he is an extinct species. And once we have him drawn and sketched, we're going to color him in with some very colorful materials, probably paint and oil pastels, but we're going to do it in the style of Andy Warhol. This is an example of Andy Warhol's Endangered Species series that he did, and this is a bighorn ram, but you can see how he used imaginative color in his pictures. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to be using some imaginative color with paint, and then using oil pastel, like you can see the pink that he did on top, as detail for our finishing touch. Today we're using 12 by 18 paper, and I have the 12 side this way, and then the 18 side coming down. And I'll just move my picture plane so you'll end up seeing the whole thing as I use it. But I'm working on this section first, which is going to be the section, it's half of my page. So my halfway point is here. So I'm going to mark, so let's do that together. Find the center of your 12 by 18, and 18's the long way this way. Let's just mark this as a guideline. I'm going to put a tiny line there. That just tells me that's my middle. So I'm going to slide this over now, and I'm going to work up the top section in here. This is where the Pyrenean Ibex's head is going to be. And if we visualize it, the head is going to be in this section. And then I want to leave plenty of room for those gorgeous horns. And that's the prize trophy, I think, the reason it was becoming extinct, besides habitat loss, are because of those horns. So here's our very middle of the page now. So if you take the middle and go to the corner, let's find halfway between the middle and up to this corner. So I'm going to find that halfway point, and I'm going to put a straight line. So middle, draw an imaginary line to the corner, and then your halfway is going to be where we're going to place our horns. So I'm going to draw a line that's as wide as my index finger. So I just extend it a little bit so I can see my index finger. Now we're going to do two of these great horns, and your curve of the horn doesn't have to match exactly mine. And as an artist, if you want to do it, I don't know, whatever you want to do to your horn, you can be imaginative. But if you want to go ahead and follow me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up, and then it's going to be a diagonal, so artist plan, and then I'm going to do a beautiful curve back down. So watch me first as I do this. So I'm going to curve it up, almost like I'm going to draw a rainbow. I never want to touch the edge with important things like the horns or body parts. So it's a slight gentle curve, like I'm going to make a rainbow. I'm going to come around, and then I'm just going to dip down. Okay, so you go ahead and do your curve. Curving up, around, and then it dip down. Now the horns have, of course, they're pointy at the end, so I'm going to bring it back up, thin. But as I slowly curve around, I'm kind of mimicking this curve. I'm slightly getting a little bit thicker. Notice it's getting a little bit wider. And then as I reach the bottom here, I want it to be pretty wide. I want it to be a little bit wider than the width of a whole finger. See the width of my finger? So there I have that side. Let me bring this in so you can see it a little bit better. Now I'm going to do the same on the other side. Now some kids have trouble making the opposite. So don't look at this and say I'm going to copy it on this side, but just do the same that we did. We went up, up, curving. I don't want to touch the edge here. So I want to stop before my top of the page, and then I'm going to do a gentle, beautiful curve down. So I just matched in little steps what I did. Now I'm going to come back thin, like I did before, matching my curve. Just take your time and go slow. And then bring it back down, wider than a finger. There we go. Because they had some pretty substantial horns. Now I'm just going to give some curve lines here to show the little bit of texture in this horn. Now we're going to shape the head. So let me move it up and over so we can start shaping this head here. I'm going to bring it up a bit higher. I want to do a diagonal line down on each side. And then I'm going to go curve it down and in a bit, curve it down and in a bit. I'm coming down, look at that. It's almost it's the width of my hand way down. Now I'm going to put his face in. So if I do a straight line here, I'm bringing this around and up, around and up. I'm going to start I guess it's a muzzle or snout area. I'm going to come up on this side, and then I'm going to have a gentle curve to meet. I'm going to put a number 1 in the middle down here. I think this is focus, yeah. And then I'm going to go diagonally up and out. This is the nostril area. You could do a little bit of an opening to show just another line coming back down. This will end up being a solid darker color in here. Little slits for him to breathe. And now I'm going to come down for the bottom of his chin, coming down on each side, and it's rounded, almost a U curve here. Now, if we come up to the top below this, oh, I forgot the ears. Let's get those in. Where we come down off of this area, this is a diagonal. So we're going to come slightly from this area where this diagonal ends. It's out, but slightly diagonal upward. So the line did not come out horizontally straight. I went slightly upward. I'm going to round this and then go down diagonal, a short diagonal line. Now I'm bringing it back to the head, right like that. This is the inside area, so I'm coming back to the end of the ear. I'm just kind of curving round and straight. So this is the ear in here, this formation. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm coming diagonally out. Oh, mine was a little wobbly, but that's okay. I'm going to go diagonally down toward the ear. So it's this is a diagonal downward. And then I'm bringing it back to the head. Then I'm going to come up and around and back to the head. Oops. There. Now for his eyes, what we're going to do for the eyes, I'm going to skip a little space, probably only about a finger below the ears, and I'm going to do a diagonal line on each side. So a finger below the ears, and I'm bringing this diagonally into the head, going down. I'm going to make mine the same size, adjust them so that they're the same size on both sides. Now I'm going to do a downward diagonal, Whoops. And then I'm just going to curve it back to the head. These are a little exaggerated, that way you can see. Curve it up and around, A little bit exaggerated so you can see how big they are. Now an inside U shape, and color that in for his eyeball. So a slightly exaggerated. This is the This would be the pupil, and then the white, this is the iris, which would be the eye color. Let me show you. So this is his eye color in here, whatever color you're going to color his eyes. And then, of course, this is the white of the eye. This is left white. Now for the body here, look, we'll come down. I'm going to come right below the ear, and I'm just going to swoop down. I went past my middle of the page, but if yours is right near on the middle of the page, that's fine too. But I'm going to swoop down gently right to the edge of my page. Let me slide it over so you can see. And I'm just going to round at the end. Round at the end. Doesn't have to be perfectly the exact same as mine.
It's just the eyes I can't do.
Now, some of this is going to come off the page because we've run out of room. On this side, I'm just going to come down a little bit past. Now, as an artist, I never want it to line up with something like an eye. So I'm just going to go past the eye. And I'm just going to come down and swoop out a little bit. Just down and swoop and curve. He's laying down. He could be laying down or sitting. We could put part of his leg in here. Part of his leg's going to show, so I'm going to do a backward C curve here. Now the backward C is about 4 fingers at the bottom. So a backward C curve. And just have it go right off the page. And then we could do a frontward C, a regular C curve. And then we'll just put 2 lines in down here. He's totally laying down, so let me show you on this page what it looks like. See how he's totally laying down. So some of you may have, this is one leg, this is the leg behind, and then this is the front back leg. Now we'll go ahead and put in some more of this texture here. And when you do this, make sure it's curving, following the curves of this horn. And they form these grooves as they grow. So this is real important in it too. It gives more detail. And I believe that's about all the detail we have in this. And there you have the full view of the Pyrenean Ibex. Pyrenean Ibex, which is now extinct. And I believe it was in 2000 that it became extinct. And here is the one I did up with the legs at the bottom, because a few of my students had room for the bottom legs, so I wanted to show you how to finish that off. I wanted to show you how I finished this off. I used some crayon, and gave a base coat of crayon very lightly. Here you can see where it's just crayon before I added my paint. And I did some dark values. I worked up the darks and I worked up the lights with crayon, light values. Some small temper cakes right here. These were mini temper cakes. And I just laid that over the crayon. And I just did some values and shading with the blue. I'll show you close up. And then I'll show you how I did the mountains. And these are the Pyrenean mountains that go between France and Spain, where the Ibex lives. I layered them with some values of purple, and then I used purple and blue and magenta paint on top. I kept the white tops of the mountains, and then I did some green coming down the mountain. So it gives that natural kind of mountain look from a distance. Here's a close-up of the Ibex's fur. See if I can get in here, and you can see some of the crayon marks. I used light tans, white and yellow crayon underneath, and then I did some, where the shading is, I did some blue and brown crayon, and then I worked up the same with the paint, layering it. And so then you get the overall effect of a very painterly, extinct Pyrenees Ibex. This is the third grade example that's done with just crayon before we paint it. And here are some fourth grade examples of the Ibex before we've even started coloring them. So I hope you enjoy the video, and if you like the channel, don't forget to subscribe. We appreciate all of these subscribers and viewers.